Hi guys, my name is Sneha and I'll be joining you today on today's episode of A Proverbs a Day Keeps the Enemy Away. Now, I hope that it has been a blessing for you as well as it has been for me, reading through the book of Proverbs, seeing what your teachers have to say, and just listening from God in general. I noticed you guys have covered up until Proverbs Chapter 12, right? Am I right? Okay, perfect. Proverbs Chapter 12. So what we're going to do is we're going to go on to the next chapter in the book of Proverbs, which is Proverbs Chapter 13. I hope you guys had a chance to read through the chapter. If not, don't worry about it. We're going to read through it now. We're going to read through the verse that I have picked for us to meditate on. But I want this to be like a team effort kind of thing. Okay, we're going to read it together. We're going to see what God has to say to both of us. So we're going to open up our Bibles and we're going to go to Proverbs, the book of Proverbs. We're going to go to chapter 13 and verse 3. And we're going to read verse 3 together, okay? So verse 3 says, "He who guards his mouth preserves his life, but he who opens wide his lips shall have destruction." Okay, I think we'll read it one more time. Is that okay with you guys? Okay, perfect. Let's read it one more time, okay? Nice and loud, okay? Verse 3 says, "He who guards his mouth preserves his life, but he who opens wide his lips shall have destruction." Okay. Now, I don't know if you guys noticed, but the first part of that verse and the second part of that verse, they're very different. The first part talks about life and the second part talks about the opposite of life, destruction. Now, we're going to go back to the first part. We're going to split the verse into two, okay? First part, we're going to talk about guarding our mouth and preserving our life. Okay, so we know that sometimes, I'm guilty of it too. We get really, really angry. It might be at our siblings. It might be at our parents. It might be at our friends. Sometimes we just get really, really angry and we don't watch what we say. We have an outburst of anger. We slam the doors. We scream. We shout. And I don't know if you guys have noticed, but when you go through a period of anger like that, and once you have cooled down, once you have calmed down, we don't often remember what we have said. But we know we have said some not so very nice things, right? But the Bible is saying that we have to guard our mouth, that we have to protect our mouth. We all know what a guard does, right? A guard, a security guard, what do? They protect the building. They make sure that nothing bad enters or no one bad with anything valuable of the building leaves as well. So like that, we have to guard our mouth. We have to make sure that nothing bad enters our mouth, and obviously nothing bad will enter. The only way something bad will enter our mouth is through our heart. So we have to make our hearts pure. We have to make sure it's pure. Okay, how do we do that? When we sit with our friends, whatever it is, when we sit with our friends, when we sit with our cousins, our family, what we watch, what we hear, what we read, we have to make sure that it glorifies God. Okay, and that it's pure, that it doesn't defile our heart, that it doesn't affect what is coming out of our mouth. So if what goes into our heart is good, then most definitely what comes out of our mouth will also be good. So now we know that whatever we do, no matter how angry we get, we have to remember God said to guard our mouth. We have to be like a security guard. We have to make sure nothing bad enters our mouth through our heart and nothing bad leaves our mouth, okay? Because sometimes we don't realize the power of our own words. We don't realize what we can say to someone that will really, really hurt their feelings, okay? I don't know if you guys have heard of this saying, but it says, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. It's a bit hard. It's a bit hard to do that all the time, especially when you're really angry or when you're really annoyed. But let's just try to do that, okay? If you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. So that's the first part of our verse, okay? The second part of our verse says, "But he who opens wide his lips shall have destruction," okay? If we don't watch what we say, then we're not going to bring life onto another person. The tongue, our tongue, has the power to give life or to kill. So we really have to make sure what we're saying to someone, is it encouraging? Is it kind? Or are we being mean to them? Are we bringing them down? We have to always make sure that what we say glorifies God, that what we say is according to the will of God, because otherwise it will really hurt a person. We won't know how much it has hurt a person till ages later. So we have to be very, very careful. So now, from Proverbs chapter 13 verses 3, now we know that like a security guard of a building protects that building, we have to guard our mouths. We have to guard our hearts. And how do we do this? We do this by making sure that our friendships, that what we watch, that what we hear, that what we read is all pure, that it glorifies God in absolutely every single way. We don't want anything that defiles the temple of God, which is our body, to enter us, right? If our heart is good, then what will come out of our mouth will also be good, okay? Now we know, you guys are probably listening to this and you guys are like, oh, I've been mean sometimes. That's okay, okay? We're going to let the past go, but from now on, we're going to decide, okay, after this episode, while you guys are watching me right now, me and you, we're both going to decide, not just you, I'm going to decide with you. We're going to take it as a challenge that nothing bad will leave our mouths. Nothing bad will enter our hearts and nothing bad will leave our mouths, okay? So can we read chapter 13 verse 3 one more time now that we know the meaning of it? Okay, one more time, okay? He who guards his mouth preserves his life, but he who opens wide his lips shall have destruction. Okay guys, I hope this was a blessing in your life, and I want to remind you, we're going to guard our mouths, okay? No matter how angry we get, we're going to keep it in. We're going to make sure that, we don't say anything bad, that we don't let anything that does not glorify God enter our bodies, okay? I want to encourage you with these verses, and I will be praying that you guys will guard your mouths, me and you together. So enjoy the rest of the Proverbs a Day Keeps the Enemy Away episodes, and I hope and pray that it will be a blessing in your lives, okay? Let's not just read through these verses, but let's also implement it in our lives, okay? Bye guys.
A wise son heeds his father's instruction, but the mocker does not listen to rebuke. From the fruit of his lips a man enjoys good things, but unfaithful love have craving for violence. He who guards his lips guards his life, but he who speaks rashly will come to ruin. He sluggard craves and get nothing, but the desire of the diligent are fully satisfied. The righteous hate what is false, but the wicked bring shame and disgrace. Righteousness guards the men of integrity, but the wickedness overthrows the sinner. One man pretends to be rich, yet the other man does not have nothing. Another pretends to be poor, yet has great wealth. A man rich is many ransom his life, but a poor man hears no threat. A light of the righteous shines brightly, but the lamp of the wicked snuffed out.
Through insolence comes nothing but strife, but wisdom is with those who receive counsel. Wealth obtained by fraud dwindles, but the one who gathers by labor increases. Hope deferred makes the heart sick, but the desire fulfilled is the tree of life. The one who despises the word will be in debt to it, but the one who fears the commandment will be rewarded. The teaching of the wise is a fountain of life. To turn aside from snares of death. Good understanding produces favor, but the way of the teacheress is hard. Every prudent man acts with knowledge, but the fool displays folly. A wicked messenger falls into adversity, but the faithful envoy brings healing.
Whoever disregards discipline comes to poverty and shame, but whoever heeds correction is honor. A longing fulfilled is sweet to the soul, but fools detest turning from evil. Walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools the wicked harms. Trouble bears the sinner, but the righteous are rewarded with good things. A good person leaves an inheritance for their children's children, but a sinner's wealth is stored up for the righteous. And unplowed fields produce food for the poor, but injustice sweeps away. Whoever spares the rod hates their children, but the one who loves their children is careful to discipline them. The righteous eat to their heart's content, but the stomach of the wicked grows hungry.